Hi guys, this is me Nutritionist Dhvani Shah and you're listening to Food That Heals. Today we are going to be talking about the art of eating. So eating is not just about putting food in your mouth or chewing it. Eating in Ayurveda is as important as choosing the right food. So basically your food gives you pran energy. And to get the best out of this pran energy, you need to be eating the food the right way. So, this pran energy is best assimilated when you get the full experience out of your meal. So, you're choosing the right food, you're eating it at the right time, and you're eating it the right way. Basically, the art of eating teaches you to understand what suits you the best. It helps you lower your cravings, it regulates your hunger, and impacts your mood positively. So imagine that you're eating your favorite food, but you know how to eat it, when to eat it, and to maintain the health that you've already achieved. The gut loves this 3-step process that we're about to learn. So imagine a situation where you're able to understand what suits you the best, how to eat your favorite foods while at the same time not cheating or overdoing on them, and most importantly, maintaining a way of life. So it's not something that you get on for a month or two and you're back to eating what you were doing earlier. This is a way of life. Believe me, if you try the 3-step process, your gut is going to love it. You're not going to want to go back to what you were eating earlier. Are you ready? So am I. The art of eating comprises of 3 main concepts, and this is a blend of all the traditional eating practices from Asia. Of course, there are other eating practices that are followed in different regions, but usually eating practices are designed in a way to suit your environment, to suit where you're living, and most importantly, to also accommodate the foods that grow in your region. So, I'm going to be amalgamating the art of eating using traditional eating practices from India and from Japan, and a lot of East Asia as well. The first concept is called Mitahar. Mitahar is a traditional Ayurvedic concept. It is also a part of naturopathy, of Siddha medicine, and of Thanology. So, Mitahar in different forms has always been a practice in Indian households. I mean, if you see how your grandparents used to eat, if you see the way when children in the 90s or in the 80s used to be eating in school or during school breaks, is revolving around the Mitahar concept. So basically, Mitahar indicates that we use all our 5 sensory organs to eat our meals. We smell the food, we taste it, we look at it, we feel it, we hear it sizzle. It has to be a complete sensory experience. When you eat your food using the 5 sensory experience, your food gets assimilated better. You can feel what it does after going inside the system versus when you're just eating mindlessly. These days, a concept of mindful eating is in play where people recommend that you don't use any distraction while eating your meal. For example, if you're watching television, if you're talking on the phone, if you're eating between meetings, this does not allow the body to function efficiently and it causes an excess of the tamas ras to be produced. So basically, while we are eating when distracted, for example, we're eating while watching television, we're on calls, we're reading newspapers, we're attending meetings, or even eating hurriedly. So, you have 10 minutes and you're finishing your meal between meetings. This causes the stress to pass on to your food. So you're making your food more tamasic, you're making it more toxic, you're making it more dead. So imagine how much of the prana energy you're retaining while you eat your meal. Ayurveda also says that you need to sit down while you eat your meal. Not just eating, even while drinking water, you need to be in the sitting down position and not in the standing position. So you can sit down cross legged or even on the dining table, but make sure you're seated while you eat your meal and not standing or moving around like while in the buffet or holding a drink, grabbing some snacks on the party table. Lastly, Mitahar also goes a step forward to say that you need to be grateful for the meal that you're eating. Your meal is your pran energy. It is giving you life. It is your source of nourishment. And it is one sole reason that gives you happiness, that elevates your mood, that strengthens your gut. It keeps away disease. So, the least that you can do is to be grateful for what you're eating, for the nourishment that your meal is going to give you. If you remember when we were children or during our grandparents' era in the 90s, I remember as a child when I was in school, we always started our lunch break with a prayer. We ended it with a prayer. And it always used to be a joint prayer session. We are just praying to make sure we calm our bodies to receive the food that we're eating. We are also thanking the food because it's going to go into the system and nourish us. So practice gratitude, be happy while you're eating. Practice gratitude towards the hands that prepare the food. It can be your mother, it can be your wife, it can be you. Practice gratitude, and that will just elevate Mitahar to another level. Are you enjoying the session so far? We have 2 more such theories coming up. So before we go ahead, don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends if you enjoy it. It just encourages us to do more sessions and to get you the right information you need to keep healthy. The second traditional concept that I'm going to be talking about is a traditional Japanese concept. So I had the chance to meet the CEO of Sharp India. He was a Japanese posted in India, and I was doing a session for their brand, and we got together, we had a chat about everything Indian, everything Japanese, and he told me about this very interesting concept that they practice and they're taught right from the time they're young kids. So they're taught this in school, they're taught by their parents as a must do before each meal at home. So the name of this concept is Hara Hachi Bu. Hara Hachi Bu literally translates into eat till you are 80% full. The sentence says it all, it does not need explanation. But let me delve a little further into this and give you some insight. So basically, when we eat till we are 80% full, the 20% that we haven't eaten leaves enough space in the stomach for optimum digestion of our food. Ideally, the stomach needs 20% air, 50% food, and 30% water as its composition for optimum digestion. So, if you eat till you're 80% full, remember that is going to cause optimum digestion, mixing of the digestive juices, and it prevents bloating, it prevents gas formation, it prevents fermentation. It does not cause the leaky gut syndrome, the IBS, and that keeps away most lifestyle diseases. Additionally, the body also takes time to signal the brain that it is full. So, if you finish your meal in 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, by the time the brain receives its signal and it signals back to the stomach to stop eating, it is already too late and we've eaten too much. So when we stop at 80%, we ensure that you've eaten just the right amount. And believe me, within a few minutes, you'll realize that you're comfortably full and you don't feel full to the brim so that your waist belt is really tight. So, when we work with our clients, when we put them on our nutrition programs, we teach our clients to recognize the amount of food that their body needs. And this actually eliminates the need to count and measure what you eat. So imagine you don't need to count the cups of rice you eat, the spoonfuls of nuts you need, or even count calories of your meal. So imagine a situation where you have a bowl of your favorite ice cream and you're satisfied in just a bite or two. The essence of a diet, of the FIMS way of life, is not controlling or restricting yourself. Because when you restrict yourself, you feel miserable, you don't know where you're heading, you don't know when you get hungry, you lack hunger, you get excessive hungry, etc. But when you eat right, when you practice mitahar, when you practice hara hachi bu, when you do a combination of right food for the right body type at the right time of the day, you really don't feel restricted because you don't have the need to eat anything that your body does not require. So it's not that you're restricting yourself, you're controlling yourself, you're feeling miserable, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, while in turn you feel so happy, so good that you don't really need to have the entire scoop of ice cream. You're eating a bite and you're just satisfied. The third theory that I'm going to be talking about is a little about modern nutrition. It's inspired by modern nutrition. However, I have put it in a way that it's simple to follow in day-to-day life. I call it the food psychology, and it involves 2 to 3 aspects of our mealtime that I'll be discussing with you. The first thought when you look at a plate of food tells everything about how your body will react to the meal itself. The first thought when you look at a plate of food tells everything about how your body will react to it. When you get on a nutrition program or when you're making changes to the way you're eating, initially, yes, your reactions are going to be very different. But with time, as you settle into a healthier way of life, as you eat what your body requires, the first reaction will tell you everything about your meal. Whether it's suitable for you, whether you're going to be able to eat everything, it's going to be more, less, you require some other ingredients, everything. And yes, by everything, I mean it works like magic. So you don't really need a blood test or a doctor to tell you what is good for you. You can train your body to do so. So basically, your plate of food is your balance to a healthy life and zero cravings. And to get this balance, you need to set your serveware right and you need to set your proportions right. We usually do not pay a lot of attention to our serveware. We usually do not pay a lot of attention to the plates, the bowls, the spoons, the size of our serveware when we serve food on a daily basis. So, think of your situation when you have guests over, you have people coming over for meals, and how meticulously you plan the plates, the bowls, the table setup that will go in while you serve the meal to your guests. And if that has to happen on a daily basis, imagine the meal experience that you get. Using the right type of plates, the right size, and the right material to serve food makes a big, big difference in how you perceive the food and how you eat it. Example, you cannot serve a bowl of soup in a plate. And you need to use a flat plate for a sandwich or a paratha. You need to use a deep dish for a rice. This indicates that you use the right type of serveware to serve your food. so that it's easier to eat, it's not messy, and moreover, it looks in proportion to the plate. Remember, don't overload a small plate with a lot of food. This creates a sense of fullness and overeating. At the same time, do not use a large plate for very little food. So, this gives you a sense of unfulfillment, and you might want to take another serving or two just to satisfy the false hunger that develops from an empty plate. Coming to the material of your serveware. So you can have steel, you can have brass, you can have copper, you can have earthenware, it can be glass, it can be ceramic. Basically, choose the material to denote the cuisine that you serve. Steel, brass, copper, earthenware go very well with Indian dishes because the Indian dishes are very earthy in flavor, in elements. A glass or ceramic container would go very well for hot beverages, it would go for continental food, it would also go for very mildly flavored or mildly spiced food. Talking about proportions of the food that you serve. So, yes, the proportions of your food are decided on your lifestyle, on your health goals, on your height, body structure, BMI, any medical issues, or even your likes and dislikes. But remember that every meal can have 2 to 3 different dishes and 2 to 3 different nutrient elements to make a balanced diet. For example, if you look at a typical Indian thali or if you look at a typical Indian balanced diet, it comprises of a bread which is either a roti or a paratha. It comprises of a vegetable which is the sabzi. It comprises of a dal or a curd or a kadhi. So basically there are 3 elements. There's a roti, there is a sabzi, there is a dal. So remember, while you maintain your proportions, you also must increase or decrease your meal proportionately. So there can be days when you're not as hungry, but there can be days when you want to reach out to an extra roti because you're hungrier and you've had a hectic day. So when you reach out for that extra roti, you also have to reach out to that extra bowl of dal and extra bowl of sabzi with it, so that you're increasing the size of your meal proportionately. When you increase it disproportionately, that is when the nutrient imbalance occurs, fat deposition occurs, your digestion goes weaker, and you face a lot of other health situations. So proportions, adding, subtracting dishes is not the right way. It has to be synergetically increased with all the elements increasing or decreasing at the same time. So a combination of all of these theories, Mitahar, Hara Hachibu, and food psychology is actually the art of eating. Work on one theory at a time, slowly master it, move on to the second one, master it, do a combination of all of these theories, and that gives you the perfect balance to your meals, to your eating, to your health, to your wellness, and even your mood. This is me, Nutritionist Dhvani Shah, signing off for today. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this podcast with your friends, and stay tuned for more.